Now at 6, flooding in eastern North Carolina. We'll tell you the areas affected the most by today's rain.
Plus, a big night for President Joe Biden, how a press conference could have major implications for the race for the White House.
We are also covering the vice president's visit to North Carolina today. What she's saying as the Biden campaign tries to flip North Carolina.
And a former doctor sued. The new details we are learning about that doctor and how it's impacting a local clinic right here in eastern North Carolina. That and more is coming up, and the longest running newscast in the East starts right now.
On your side, this is WNCT 9 News at 6.
Lots of rain today is causing flooding, and it is impacting several areas across eastern North Carolina. Let's take a look at this video. This is from earlier today on Highway 125 between Beargrass and Williamston. You could see that there's water on the road, even on the side of it in some parts. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here for your news at 6 o'clock. I'm Courtney Courtright. And
I'm Ken Watlington. The flooding continues south in Lenoir County today. County leaders say multiple streets in downtown Kinston were impassable this morning because of the flooding there. You can see the photo there on the far right side of your screen. That's West Road from this morning. Officials also say areas on NC Highway 11 had some water on the road. They say 2 cars were stranded on that highway this morning in front of the Covation Bio plant. Our team of meteorologists has been tracking this weather all day long in the Storm Team 9 Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Jerry Jackson joining us now. Jerry, what are you tracking at this hour?
Well, we still have additional rain showers that'll be moving in later tonight. It's interesting because the thunderstorms that we've seen during the course of the day today have not been severe. They have been sub-severe. They've just been slow movers. So if you're stuck underneath one, you can see several inches of rain. We got a little break in the action here in Greenville. We've been on the lighter side of things, relatively speaking. You do see additional thunderstorms, though, already flaring up offshore, and they are working their way inland. We have a big moisture plume. So even though up around Elizabeth City and down south towards Craven and Beaufort County, the coverage is thinned a little bit. Additional rain will be moving in later tonight, and tomorrow we will have the added influence of a low pressure area moving in. That could lead to heavier rain and maybe a severe storm. We'll have more in your Storm Team 9 forecast coming up.
All right, Jerry, thanks. Developing tonight in Duplin County, a driver is hurt after a crash and a firefighter is hurt after lightning hit near that scene. The State Highway Patrol tells us it happened on Interstate 40 earlier today. Troopers say a car ran off the road and hit a tree. NC State Highway Patrol says the driver was taken to a local hospital. We're working to learn more about that driver's condition. The fire chief of Rose Hills says a firefighter was working near a fence when lightning struck nearby that scene. The firefighter was also taken to the hospital. He's since been released. We're working to learn more, and we'll update you on air and online.
If you have pictures or videos of active weather or breaking news where you live, share it with 9. We are making it easy for you. Just go to WNCT.com and find Share It with 9 on the top banner. There you can upload your photos or videos and fill out some information. You can remain anonymous in that. Once you send it there, it might show up right here on WNCT. You can also share it with 9 on the free 9 on Your Side mobile app. And speaking of the apps, make sure you download the Storm Team 9 app. You can get custom alerts sent right to your phone when severe weather is approaching. Even look at where the rain is and when it will get to your home on that interactive radar. Get it now for free on the Google Play or Apple App Stores.
WNCT is your local election headquarters, and tonight is a big night for President Joe Biden and his re-election campaign. After a full day at the NATO summit in Washington, D.C., meeting with world leaders, including Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, the president is holding a solo news conference. It's happening in less than an hour, and it's the first of its kind since last November. The stakes are high tonight, and even Democrats are saying they are watching tonight to see how the president performs.
I think the president has to present a clear and convincing case to the American people, not only tonight, but in everything he does.
We're continuing to have conversations with each other, and those have been candid, comprehensive, and clear-eyed.
A new Washington Post poll shows a majority of Americans and Democrats say following the president's debate performance last month, he should step aside.
For the 6th time this year, Vice President Kamala Harris made a stop in North Carolina. During her campaign stop at Dudley High School in Greensboro today, pro-Palestinian demonstrators interrupted her. They were taken out by security. The reason for today's visit was to emphasize the stakes of the election for our state.
What kind of country do we want to live in? That's the question being posed to each one of us. Do we want to live in a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law, or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? We each, and here's the beauty in this, we each have the power to answer that question.
Governor Roy Cooper greeted the vice president at the airport, along with State Senator Gladys Robinson and civil rights activist Shirley Fry.
And the head of the North Carolina Democratic Party says she's telling people not to, quote, freak out when it comes to whether President Biden should stay in the presidential race. Anderson Clayton said the state party is fully behind President Biden and Vice President Harris continuing to lead the ticket. She pointed to Biden's rally in Raleigh the day after the presidential debate, saying she thinks Biden bounced back from his performance the night before. The Biden campaign has made North Carolina a top target this year after former President Trump narrowly won the Tar Heel state back in 2020.
And we are excited this year to be mobilizing every person possible to flip North Carolina blue at the presidential level, to hold North Carolina blue at the governor's level.
The state Republican Party released a statement today saying in part Joe Biden is weak, failed, and dishonest, and the American people are now running to President Trump and Republicans because he will make America great again.
And to stay up to date on the race for president and other races here in our state, go to our website, WNCT.com. There we have this Your Local Election Headquarters page. It is full of everything you need to know before the November election happens. Find it now by hovering your mouse over the News tab and click Your Local Election Headquarters. And developing tonight, Chad Singleton, the director of the Pitt County Animal Shelter, is resigning. This is happening as an investigation into him started last week. His last day will be tomorrow. We did reach out to Singleton. We are still waiting to hear back from him. He's been the director of the Pitt County Animal Shelter since August 2021.
It's now been more than 2 weeks since we learned about a family medicine clinic closing here in Greenville. We're learning more tonight about a lawsuit filed against the original owner. Now, your side's Erin Jenkins has been following this story for us from the beginning. She's in the studio with us tonight. So, Erin, what is this latest development?
Well, we've actually obtained copies of that lawsuit. Quasar Family Medicine North Carolina filed the lawsuit against Carolina East Family Medicine, Dr. Charles Jarsdorfer, and several of his family members. Jarsdorfer was the owner of Carolina East Family Medicine Center for years. The verified complaint says Quasar Health Solution and its CEO, Dr. Sean Feinberg, purchased the clinic back in December of last year. Since then, Quasar claims they found several wrongdoings. The complaint states in part, as Quasar took over Carolina East Family Medicine's assets, Dr. Feinberg and his team learned that Dr. Jarsdorfer operated CEFM in suspect ways, refilling controlled substances without regard for prevailing clinical protocols, while also overbilling third-party payers for services he did not render, end quote. Online documents show Dr. Jarsdorfer and the other defendants are being represented by the law firm of Ward & Smith. An attorney from there sent me the following statement in part. Dr. Jarsdorfer was terminated by Quasar Family Medicine while he was out for health-related reasons. He vehemently denies all of the allegations and will vigorously defend his rights against Quasar. We have that full statement and also the 75-page complaint on our website at WNCT.com. In the studio, Erin Jenkins, 9 on your side.
All right, Erin, thank you. We are hearing tonight from Attorney General Josh Stein about a recent Supreme Court decision. The court rejected a nationwide settlement with Purdue Pharma. That's the company making OxyContin. The lawsuit would have provided billions of dollars to help fight the opioid epidemic. Stein has been a strong advocate to get this money for communities across North Carolina.
We've been working really hard to hold accountable the opioid drug companies that created and fueled the crisis. We've won more than $50 billion for the country. Our state share is nearly $1.5 billion. We had an additional $5 to $6 billion that we would have gotten from Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family. The Supreme Court said nope.
From the previous settlement, local counties and cities across the state are splitting some $1.5 billion.
ECU Health announced last year that it was closing its clinic in Aurora. A year later, Agape Health Services announced it's building its own clinic. In the meantime, Agape says they are working to provide resources before that clinic opens. On your side, Sarah Gray Barr is joining us now live from the newsroom. So Sarah Gray, tell us more about their efforts.
Yeah, Courtney, while people in Aurora are waiting for the clinic to be finished, Agape Health Services told me they want to start building up their patient bank now. Recently, Agape started bringing their mobile clinic to the town. I spoke with both doctors and residents who say this clinic is bringing relief. Dr. Wendy Carlton with Agape says if people can't come to you for services, you go to them.
Hopefully, others will follow, such as grocery stores, basic things, gas stations, and other services in this community.
She says treatment requires trust.
We are just getting started, and the problem is with a lot of these communities, they've been abandoned. And what we're trying to do is build trust, and that does take some time.
The mobile clinic is working with other community groups like H3C and Ripe for Revival to bridge that resource gap.
We need a little bit from everybody, and they need us too. So it's that collaboration that will further strengthen the bonds within our communities.
James is a Blunt's Creek resident living near Aurora for decades.
I was out of medicine for about 3 months, high blood pressure pills and stuff. And the latest I could get when I went 3 places, I had to wait till September that anybody could get to me. And I can't do without that medicine.
Like their brick and mortar facilities, the mobile unit is complete access, meaning you don't need insurance to receive care. Right now, Agape is figuring out how to bring prescriptions to their residents unable to travel, as well as provide pediatric services and mental and behavioral health.
That would be very nice. The people would be close to get their medicine and everything. And it'd be help. Anything that's help you, let's go for it.
Those with Agape tell me their Aurora clinic could be completed as early as mid-2025. But in the meantime, Agape welcomes people to either schedule an appointment or just walk up to their mobile clinic. Currently, the unit visits on Thursdays. We'll have the address to where that unit will be on our website, WNCT.com. In the newsroom, Sarah Gray Barr, 9 on your side.
Sarah Gray, thank you.
Still ahead here on WNCT 9 News at 6. It may not be needed today, but a splash pad is coming to Washington. We'll tell you when it'll be done and where you'll be able to find it.
And splashing of a different kind over the next few days with a lot of heavy rain moving into eastern North Carolina. We'll talk about a weather alert day for your Friday coming up next.
Coming up tonight on the CBS Evening News, a make or break moment for President Biden. We'll have live coverage of the president's rare solo press conference tonight. And what we're learning about Donald Trump's meeting with a far-right European leader at Mar-a-Lago. That and more headlines tonight on the CBS Evening News.